and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Jennifer Kirk.
And I'm Dave Leese, and we're filming on Labor Day here in the U.S., so summer is officially over. We are back to the skating season, back to work, and ready to break down all of the skating for you this season. Now, Jenny, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I was remembering 99 Nationals. Dick Button compared Michelle Kwan and Naomi Nari.
Who could forget the split screen, the classic split screen, people?
With the checklist, which was not exactly very nice, but it was Dick's way of telling Michelle to fix her layback. But
she did. She added the leg down. Yes.
Yes. So this would be a great time to compare the comeback of Patrick Chan against Yuzuru Hanyu, who's the reigning world silver medalist, yet many consider him to be the top man in the world.
The reigning Olympic champion. It's a pretty big title there.
Pretty big, as well as winning the Grand Prix final last season.
So what we're going to do is we have different categories, and we're going to compare the two skaters in each category, and then at the end, we're going to reveal our overall winner based on how many categories the guy won. So let's start with jumps, my most favorite category. Break it down, Dave Leese. Talk about these guys' jumps.
Right, well, they are obviously both great jumpers, both very accomplished men. With Hanyu, I do give him the advantage for jumps, and this is why. Because he can do a quad sal, a quad loop, as we've seen in exhibitions this summer, and a quad toe. So I think if he settles on two of those quads, he can really earn some points, perhaps over Patrick, who is going, we know that he has a quad toe. We know that he has a great quad toe. He did it in both programs at the high performance camp recently last week in Canada. But he didn't do the triple axels yet. The triple axel has long been his nemesis. We know he was getting it back. He got some tips from other coaches during the Stars on Ice tour, but he hasn't done the triple axel in more than a year. So that's really his nemesis jump. At this point, I would say that Hanyu has the advantage. We saw him do triple axels in the second half of his program, 2 from difficult entrances. And we know that at the Olympic Games, Patrick only had 1 triple axel. So I think Patrick will have to do 2. So I do give Hanyu the benefit in the jump area. How about you?
See, I think obviously Hanyu can do the 3 quads. We saw him consistently attempt both the sal and the toe last season. Patrick, on the other hand, he's pretty good to do the 2 opening quad toes in his long program. Like, I'm confident with him on that. Conversely, when we talk about the triple axel, Patrick only doing 1 the last few seasons and never really that consistent. Hanyu was so smart last season. He did the triple axel, half loop, triple sal the second half of his program, so he got that bonus. And at the World Team Trophy last spring, he earned, what was it? I wrote it down here, 16.52 points for that. Compare that to quad toe, triple toe from Chan, 14.6. I mean, it's not as difficult, but I believe his triple axel is consistent enough that he's going to bring in those points. Where I do worry with Hanyu, though, are the other triples. Both men susceptible to little errors on a triplets combination. And I think Patrick probably has the edge there. So looking at it overall, although I think on paper Hanyu is the stronger jumper, when I go with who am I going to trust under pressure, I give it to Patrick.
I think it's interesting because I think that Patrick obviously is coming back. I think doing a comeback in 2015, it might take you a couple of months into the next season. I think if we're looking at early season, Grand Prix, I'm going to give Hanyu the clear advantage. I think if you're going to look later in the season at the World Championships, that could be a different story, and perhaps that could really be where Patrick is shining. So it might take Patrick a couple months to be completely consistent with all of his jumps in competition. I will say that when Patrick does a quad toe, it covers so much ice, and he has the
almost too much ice sometimes. He's known to bump into those boards.
But it does have a real regal quality to it.
I mean, he has like very nice, high, good jumps. Just good jumping legs.
Yeah, and I think the grades of execution could go to Patrick in that area. But again, Hanyu, he's younger, he has the versatility, so it's going to be a really interesting...
So you give it to Hanyu, I give it to Chan. Let's move on to spins, because this is an area where both men are good. They're good spinners. But I'm going to give it to Hanyu here. He does the donut spin. Don't love that he has to bend down to pick up the leg, but I think he has unique variations. The speed in his spins are just fantastic. Centering as well, I give him the edge. How about you?
I give Hanyu the edge as well. He has the flexibility, the centering, and the ability. Sometimes we see Hanyu miss a spin. Sometimes he does so much in his programs.
Too much.
Almost winded at the end, but I do give Hanyu the edge in terms of spins. I think it's going to be a very different matchup. Hanyu versus Chan rather than Hanyu against Javier and Hanyu against Dennis when Dennis is actually skating well. So I think this is going to really push both skaters. I expect to see Hanyu gain more points in the spins this season.
Well, let's discuss mental toughness, because this is so important in all disciplines. I have to give it to Hanyu here. After Cup of China last season, I mean, Patrick has never been in a situation like that, so it's hard to predict how he would react. But I'm going to say he wouldn't have skated that program. He would have been smart not to skate that program. I don't think Patrick would have gone out and done the program. And all the stories we heard after was that it was really Hanyu who was pushing to get on the ice, that he wanted to do that program. Stories we hear of him practicing, it's the same thing, that he's going to go every day, go hard, sometimes maybe too hard. He's a little frail. Maybe he's going to be more susceptible to injury. But, I mean, Hanyu just respect when it comes to mental toughness.
Yeah, I obviously everyone, you can look back to Cup of China, but I also want to look at, Hanyu has a tendency to sometimes miss his opening quad. Throughout the Olympic season, we often saw him sit down the opening quad sal, but then he would deliver the rest of the performance. So he has the real ability to miss a jump, come back and do the rest of the jump cleanly,
focus.
Especially in the second half. If something is, a miss in the first half, that second half is where he gains so many points and so much of an advantage.
But pause. When it comes to both of them, I remember the first time you and I think it was 4 continents in 2013, discussed Hanyu. He popped the Lutz in the short program, did the other 2 elements really well. And this is something, a pattern that we've seen from him where you can never fully relax. I think someone like Patrick, if he's going to get through the first 2 hard elements in the short, I believe he's going to do that third easier triple. I'm going to believe that he's going to do it a little bit more than I'm going to believe with Hanyu. So I think when it comes to just focus and consistency, they're both a little hot and cold. I don't know. I think that's
what makes it such an exciting matchup this season. I actually give Chan the edge in the short. I think if he has his triple axel back, he does a good quad toe, I think he's going to probably have a little bit of the edge in the short program. Getting into some of the program, obviously steps, they're both great skaters. I'm going to give Patrick the edge in the short program. We've only seen a little bit of a clip of his Mac the Knife program.
So is this going on to skating skills or interpretation and choreography?
Let's transition.
Let's do interpretation and choreography.
Okay.
So you're giving the edge to Chan.
I'm giving the edge to Chan in the short program. I think that he has a really powerful short program. Patrick has a presence on the ice. It's a very strong, powerful guy. I would say that his presence is bigger almost than his body. I really think that this is a smart choice for the short program. Doing Mac the Knife, it's up-tempo. It really shows his maturity, and I think that he's going to carry the short program if he does a clean job. I imagine it'll be like a 2013 Worlds moment. We've seen Hanyu do his short program last season to Chopin's Ballade. I think it's very lovely, very nice. I don't know if it's going to have the same impact that Chan's will if Chan goes cleanly. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I loved Hanyu's short program in the 2013 season, 2014 season. It's one of my all-time favorite programs. We saw a little bit of his long program at Dreams on Ice, Dream on Ice a few months ago, and I like this. I feel like the last 2 seasons I haven't really fallen in love with his long programs. He did Phantom as well as I think anyone did Phantom last season, but I think this long program's a step up, just stylistically. He's skating with a little bit more maturity. When Patrick is on, there's something about him that it's just the depth of his edge, the way that he can do one crossover and be halfway across the ice that you have to respect, and we'll discuss that when we get into skating skills. But in terms of interpretation and choreography, I'm going to give it actually to Hanyu because there's an excitement to him. He's a little wild. He's not as refined as Patrick, but there's always that spark, and I think both are internal skaters, but Patrick is more of a Sasha Cohen where he's gorgeous to look at. You can respect what he's doing, but he doesn't quite grab you emotionally in the way that someone like Hanyu does. He can be more flaily and frantic, but you're going to leave feeling like, oh wow, like he gave me an emotion, whereas Patrick is just gorgeous and you respect it, but it may not tug at your heartstring just as much.
Well, I'm going to triangulate a bit here, and I'm going to say that I'm going to give Patrick the edge in the short program and Hanyu the edge in the free. I think that the Seimei program is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
And I was thinking, okay, so he's doing obviously a traditional program. It's obviously going to excite the Japanese fans. I expect to see a ton of Japanese fans at Worlds in Boston.
Oh, always.
I think that wherever Hanyu goes, it is going to be
Pooh Bears and
Pooh Bears. It's going to be a hometown crowd. So I really expect that it will excite the audience at the World Championships. Obviously, when he skates well, I think anyone will respond well to it, no matter where you are. And I think that Hanyu has a bit of a warrior persona to him.
And this is a warrior program, yes.
He's gritty. He's going to come from behind and win. And I expect that it will be very, very effective throughout the season.
All right, let's discuss our final category, skating skills. I mean, both men respect. Last year in his long program before that in triple axel, Hanyu had like one mohawk crossover back outside 3 step. I mean, just very much respect. And Patrick, we've talked about it again and again. He never does more than 2 back crossovers in succession. I'm going to give it to Patrick. Great skating skills, but just the posture, and particularly the little snippet we saw on Skate Canada's Instagram of his short program from this season, that footwork, just respect for both of them. But Patrick earns the win here.
Yeah, I'm going to give Patrick the win. It's only 0.5, 0.25 of advantage, I think, in skating skills. I don't think it's going to be that huge.
Make or break, yeah.
No, make or break. I do give Patrick the edge here. I think overall, I think that Hanyu is the favorite, especially during the Grand Prix, but I'm excited to see this matchup.
Yes, so let's talk about it. How many categories, Dave Lease, does Hanyu get the W for you?
Let's see. Hold on one moment.
Pause.
I believe that Hanyu gets jumps, spins, and presentation by a hair. Patrick gets skating skills. I'm giving him steps.
I didn't even know steps was one of them, but okay.
I think so. That's 3 to 2.
And then how about mental toughness? It was Hanyu.
It was Hanyu, so it's 4 to 2.
4 to 2. Okay, I also have Hanyu for the win. I gave him spins, mental toughness, skate, interpretation and choreography, and then I would give him steps. But when it goes to skating skills and jumps, Chan wins. We want to know from you. Break down these categories for us. Leave us a comment below. Subscribe above. We need to increase our subscribers. Find us on Instagram, Instagram/The Skating Lesson, Twitter, Twitter/Just Skating Lesson. There's no the there. And Facebook/The Skating Lesson.
Yes, and hold on one moment. We have a challenge for you this season to get everyone excited for the skating season.
I don't know where Dave Lease is going, but I can entertain you with my shimmy. I feel like you guys missed it. Oh, poo! I have a poo too.
We want to know, who do you give the edge to? If you think it is Hanyu, take a picture of yourself with poo, tag Skating Lesson on Twitter, Instagram. If you think it's Patrick Chan, get your Skate Canada Canadian flag out.
Your little maple leaf. I think I have one of them around here too.
We want you to take out your maple leaf and be Team Patrick for this season. Hold an edge and look sexy.
Bye, guys.